All right, welcome to week two feature matches for Lost Caverns of Ixalan League. We got a little hung up with some of the arena issues here, but we have, despite what the usernames are saying on the screen, we have John P. Goku or Go Home against Paul S. Young Chunk, and Raphael's going to tell us what's going on in Paul's hand here as we finally get our game started.
Seems we had a mulligan, so we're deciding to keep this new hand that has three colors with a snail, tithing blade, green widow, and a join the dead.
Okay.
He's mousing over the green widow to put back to the deck. We'll see what happens here. What's going on your side of the
Yeah.
woods?
John's kept a hand with five red cards and two lands, one of which is red. So he has a 2-drop creature with the belligerent yearling. He has an offset card here from Kamigawa, Kami's Flare, which is a 2 mana deal 3 damage. And he's got Atali's Favor, Geological Appraiser, and the rare Magmatic Galleon for when he gets some more lands. And
Oh, that sounds like a house.
And he's drawn a Sailor of Means here for turn, which is from original Ixalan. So John's been a bit all over the place with his openings, uh, as as is the case with some people in this set. Unfortunately, he's just gonna get stuck on lands here. So he's drawn a 4-drop blue card here that he can't cast. So he's
Might be the perfect thing to exile here.
yeah he's gonna definitely exile one of his 4 or 5 drops here. Yeah, so with the way our league set up, people are getting the chance, depending on which path they have chosen, to venture off into other realms. Some more than others. So he's decided to get rid of the Atali's Favor. Just doesn't feel like he's gonna have time to cast it here, and he gets a Sailor of Means, which gives him another mana source here. So not too bad for him. Yeah, so he has a few losses. He's 3-6, so he's got a few packs here, some of which are from other sets, and he's greeted by an offset rare here, Llanowar Green Widow, which can come back from the graveyard.
Yeah, the green widow's pretty good. I think for his first draw, John is John playing on Kevin's account or is John on Adam's account?
No, John is on the KNI here.
Okay, so Paul drew a second tithing blade,
Okay.
but I don't think he wants to take out the 1/4, and then afterwards he drew the bone splinters and then the necromage. But he did just draw a river scout for turn, which I believe is
Okay.
going to be the play here.
So John's drawn a card that it might be more interesting than it is good, which is Release to the Wind, which is a rare from Rivals of Ixalan, where you exile I believe, a non-land permanent, and then its owner can recast it without paying its mana cost at some point. They still have to they respect the timing restriction. So if you exile a creature on your opponent's turn, on your turn they have to wait until their turn. But they get to recast it for free. So it's kind of just a really roundabout blink spell. Bit of a weird one, but
Interesting.
we'll see if he can make use of it here. But really, what he needs is just lands. Um, Looking at plays for turn, he could play the Geological Appraiser, which is that 3/2 with Discover. Or he could play the Gale Drifter, which is a 3/2 flying from, I believe it's Midnight Hunt, and it has Disturb. So he's getting his raid on here to cast his Charter Course, if you were wondering.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's this attack about? Does he have a trick?
and
That's
he's
sketchy.
drawn and he's drawn two promising veins. So he's doing his fixing the hard way with these lands here.
Well, Paul's definitely got kind of a slow hand here. He's gonna definitely get back in, but still stuck on 3 mana. The draw for turn was Sage of Days,
Okay.
which I'm going to assume is going to be the draw or the play for the turn. I'm curious if he goes to put a land on top though to try and start getting these cards out of his hand.
Yeah. So John's getting his mana fixed here the long and hard way. But looks
Huh?
like, well,
Paul
he's
has 3 lands on top from the Sage.
okay. Well, I assume he wants one of them. There you go.
You have to take one, or can you get rid of all of them? Is that an option with the Sage?
Yep, you can dump all of them.
Okay.
All right, so here comes the galleon, his rare here. So a nice one, gives him a treasure. That's just a good card, that galleon, and it also it fronts you the treasure on the first damage. But if you ever burn out a creature later in the game, it can make you a treasure as well.
I'm trying to figure what all does this galleon even do? I don't think I've ever seen it cast. I've never played with it yet.
So when it enters the battlefield, deals 5 damage to target creature an opponent controls. It has crew, I believe, 2 or 3. And it also says whenever an opponent's creature is dealt excess non-combat damage, you get a treasure. So it comes in, it deals 5 damage to something. If its toughness is 4 or less, you get a treasure, and then any future burn spells might get you a treasure as well. And it's a big 5/5. Just
Interesting. I
just
don't
a
think
nice rare.
Paul has any way to like really deal with this without being a little swifty. There's no since he got rid of the join the dead earlier on for the mulligan. The only removal left in hand is bone splinters and tithing blade, and neither of those can deal with that at instant speed. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
Does
enjoy.
John have any like combat tricks or anything?
No, no. The only instant he has is that release to the wind, the weird exile, and then they recast it for free.
Uh, I guess that's not bad though, right? With a 5/5, because that's pretty much shooting something for 5 again, right?
So here's a Song of Stupefaction, which you don't see cast that much in limited, but in League, if you're trying to make a 2-color deck, this thing is serviceable. So he's decided not to mill. He's just going to be happy making that Necromage a 0/1. And John's drawn another interesting rare this turn. It's called, we're going to about to see it now, the Smoldering Egg. So when you cast instant
What
or
is it?
sorceries, it gets counters, and then eventually flips into a very powerful dragon.
Interesting. Paul just rejoined the dead, so
Okay.
we get rid of the egg, or
So the egg
I guess
is not an immediate threat. You do need 7 counters on it for it to flip, but it does count the how much mana you spend on the spell. So if you cast like a 3 mana instant, it gets 3 counters and so on, and it flips on the
so you're saying the
7th.
egg has to cook for a bit, huh?
Yep, and then it becomes a 4/4 flying that I believe whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 2 damage to opponent, and it's a 4/4 flying. So uh,
What else does John have in the hand
it's
over
a
there? We know
pretty
release
beastly
to the
card.
wind.
Yeah, he's got Gale Drifter, and then he's got the Bargain Basement Cloud Blazer, worst 3 out of 5 on the Cloud Blazer scale of all time. The Didact Echo, the 5 mana 3/2 draw card that sometimes gets flying.
Okay, I'm with you. When you said bargain basement, I was like, wait, is this an actual card they printed?
No, it's the worst 3 out of 5 on the Cloud Blazer Index of all time.
What's that? The 3/2 that draws the card and gets flying if there's what
Yes, yeah,
4?
exactly.
I feel your pain. I feel
Yeah,
it.
that's what we get now. He's drawing Lodestone Needle, which is a nice draw. It's an artifact that taps something down, and then eventually turns into an artifact that you can explore once a turn. So what's Paul got going here? He left his mana up, so presumably he's going to be using it on something.
We're using it right now, and I assume in response, John's going to release.
Yeah. So it's like a protection / blink spell. It having the rare the gold rarity symbol there does not really belie what it does. It's just kind of like I said, a blink spell. But now this is gonna come back. It's gonna pop something else. It's gonna get another treasure, and at least for the time being, things are looking up for John here after that bit of a slow start.
That's a little unfortunate. Paul did just draw the bat, so if he got the bat last turn, he could have seen what was to come.
Oh, is that the deep cavern bat?
Yep.
Yeah, and that Green Widow, despite being like kind of a bomb back in Dominaria United, I mean, it costs 5 to bring back, so pretty good. But he doesn't even have the 5 yet to bring it back.
No, I forget. Does it only come back once and then exiled, or does it keep coming
I
back?
believe it can continually return, if I'm not mistaken. I have not played with the card in some time, but
Same. I felt that format was a lot of red white.
oh no, that was like the domain format where everybody was playing all the dual lands.
Yeah.
You like your straight ahead formats.
Oh yeah. It looks like Paul's trying to figure what he wants to get rid of here, though.
Yeah, so
He's really
interesting.
mousing over each card.
Yeah, John could have played the lodestone needle in response to not have it be an option to be taken because it does have flash. But I guess he says if he takes that, it's fine. I'll just play my two cards. Ah, he took the echo, showing the card a lot of respect, even though it may not have earned it.
I guess he's gonna launch the second tithing blade here, but it's gonna get what, the 1/4? Kind of serves its purpose.
this is like my problem with the tithing blade. Like on turn two, you just play it and kill a 2-drop, and then it just gets so much worse as the game goes on, to the point where it's barely worth a card. Like, when you're just killing a sailor, it means. All right, nice draw here for John. He might just use up his treasures here to cast a marauding Brinefang, which is the blue land cycler.
Ward 3, right?
Yep, 6/7. So he has the 7 mana here with his treasures.
Now Paul can get rid of it with the bone splinter since he'll have free mana to pay for the ward.
Okay, and he's got basically a useless creature there with the Necromage that does give you something when it dies. Looks
Yeah, the
like
biggest problem right now for Paul is this 5/5. Like he does have another chance to grab some creatures back, but with the whole 4 mana, it's kind of slow right now.
yeah. So he's decided instead of casting the 7-drop, he's decided to just flip his lodestone needle into the compass here, which can explore once a turn. He's now going to crew and attack. And he decided not to cast his Gale Drifter or his Brinefang this turn. I assume Paul is just going to take it because he has the Necromage he can sack to a Bone Splinters.
Which would make the most sense, right?
Yeah, at some point.
The thing though is if John just keeps attacking with the 5/5, at some point you have to do something different, correct?
Yeah, he is. This is pressing the issue. You can't just take 5, and I mean that Necromage is basically it's in your deck to die basically. So at some point he's gonna have to throw it under the bus.
Now,
So
luckily, he did
Mills.
just draw another land, so he can get back probably the Herald and something else, maybe. Oh, Greenwood.
Well,
Okay.
I think the only two in there were the Spider and the Sage.
Yeah, Sage, Spider, and the Scout,
Oh
the
yeah, the
Explorer
Scout's
dude.
in there too. Yes, of course.
Yeah, so we can play the Scout this turn.
All right.
Go
Yeah, that's
exploring.
better. That's better than the Sage. I mean, River Herald Scout, such a good card. I mean, back in original Ixalan, this card existed in black, and it was an uncommon, and it was the exact same card. 2 mana, one
Yeah,
two with
that's
Explore,
phenomenal.
uncommon.
It's funny, like Explorer's kind of weird, right? Like the green blue deck doesn't really like take off as much as you think it would, because a lot of the other decks are doing a little crazier things for basically the same curve.
Yeah, I just think there's not really that many payoffs for Explore, and most of the Explore creatures you just play in all the decks. Like this River Herald Scout, you just play in all your blue decks pretty much.
Yeah,
The 3 mana 3/1 in green that explores and the 4 mana 4/3 dinosaur that explores. You just put those in any deck. Like you don't get those cards late because you're drafting the explore deck. Those cards just get taken because explore is
he's
just a
thinking,
generically good mechanic.
the payoff is smoothing my deck and getting
Yeah.
an overcall creature sometimes. I'll take that.
Yeah. Usually, when you have sort of like a niche build around type of thing, it's you're getting the cards because nobody else can use them because they're very specific to the synergies you're looking for. But explore is just good. Like it's just a desirable thing. People want those. People want those cards. So he's gonna hold up mana here for the instant that Paul knows about from the Explorer, which is the confounding riddle. So not that Paul can do anything about it, but I suppose he can actually play around it by putting his spider into play, which is not casting a spell. Oh no, it's in his hand now.
Yep,
Okay.
put it in the hand. So he did draw the compass for turn. It's not
Okay.
looking good.
Which compass was that?
The 2 mana artifact that can grab a land or a cave to the top of the deck.
Oh, the compass. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess he's trying to think at what point does he have to get rid of this 1/5? At what point will this actually be a threat?
Well, it's. I mean, he knows at what point. It's when it gets 7 counters, and John
Yeah.
has a 3 mana one in his hand, so that means any spell's gonna make it work. So He is just
He's
going to bone
setting
splinter
off.
here. He says,
Yeah.
enough of that. I don't want a big scary dragon coming after me.
And we're gonna flip the tithing blade to play around the riddle.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, when you know your opponent has it, you can, if you can, work around it.
Yeah.
And then, but the good thing about cards like Riddle is that John could just fire it off at end of turn and draw a card.
Will he though is the question.
Well, yeah, he's doing it right now, actually. And he sees another galleon. Okay.
He has two? Oh my gosh. This pool sounds
I
nice.
mean, the other cards were good too. There was two dinosaurs and and an appraiser in there, so it was all action. But
Watching
Magmatic
Paul flicker
Galleon
through all the
was the
shots.
most action. Well, I mean, when you have 6 losses in week 2, your deck's going to look pretty scary, right? Like we're looking at this, we're saying, how the heck did he get all these rares? Well, it's because he lost a few. Yeah, gets his Echo back, makes a treasure. I mean, he's still not really making progress on Paul's life total, but he is just compiling more resources than him.
Yeah, the question is, what can Paul do to come back in this game? Who's
I
in helping
mean,
stop the
the
best
spider's
games?
coming down next turn, so but yeah, there's two 5/5s now that are going to be attacking regularly on top of all the good stuff that John's got going in his hand. The Echo, the Brine Fang, and he's drawn the Runaway Boulder, which is that 6-mana artifact that can deal damage to a creature, and it could also trigger both of his galleons potentially, so you get 2 more treasures.
Seems Paul's thinking of trading both creatures for the 3/2 if anything.
So looking at Paul's deck, it doesn't look like he's like anything's like a splash. Perhaps he's just playing 3 colors. Maybe the green Widow is a splash.
So for the green cards we've seen so far, the Spider, Huatley Strike.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we've seen any other green from
Those
him
are
so far.
cards you could be splashing.
Yeah, I think those are worth a splash.
Yeah, if you can make it work, absolutely.
But with the mana base, we have no idea yet, right?
Yeah, well, if he's, well, I mean, we see at least one dual land here from DMU, so that's always nice. And John's just got so much fixing through his treasures. He does. I did see a forest when he was looking for a basic land with his promising vein. So I guess when we get into sideboard, we'll see what that's all about. Yeah, so Paul just blocking here to kill off the 3/2. I mean, the 1 life drain every turn is nice, but not sure it'll be enough here. What's the okay compass now? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to drop the hand roll here.
All right. Here comes a little 1/1. So here comes either he's thinking about the Echo, the Boulder, or the Brine Fang. They're all good here.
So the board just deals 6, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I think he wants to attack with both of his boats. So I think
I would
uh,
think you just play the. Oh,
play
okay.
play the big thing, crew both, and attack both. It seems he has to block one of them. Yeah, it's the strangest crew I've ever seen for these boats. But we
Create
got
the higher
a
power creature.
we got a dinosaur. We got a hippogriff crewing these boats. So how have you're playing in this league, right?
I am.
All right.
It's a very. I don't really remember much to be honest. I just
Well,
kind of like blast through
how
that
have you
game.
found the out of set cards impacting, or have you seen anything noteworthy in your
I really
journeys
wouldn't
here?
know to be honest. I
Okay.
can't think of any cards I've seen out of set. I think someone mentioned my out of set kind of catching them off guard.
Yeah.
The Domry's ambush, but outside of that,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
really
I
haven't
mean,
noticed too much. We'll see what happens this week though.
yeah. I mean, people as we see, they're more and more finding these maps to other planes here, resulting in some cool cards.
Um, this is interesting.
So I can see John Splash now is Tamio the Completed Sage. which is
Oh,
the one from
um,
Neo that has the
no.
Phyrexian mana in it. It was the first.
It
It was the
seems
first completed Planeswalker. But
it seems
otherwise,
green is a splash over here, and
okay.
the thought process is maybe getting rid of it. Sadly, there's a glyph in the sideboard. I guess there's not enough artifacts to play it.
A Zoetic Glyph, yeah, that like
Yeah,
kind of crowned the mythic uncommon of the set, right?
I think it's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
Slap on a
it's one
1/2
of the
fire
best
and
ones.
indestructible pickaxe. Pretty good, pretty good. But the rest of the base is just blue black, blue black.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that a couple times in the open over the weekend on turn 3 or turn 4, and I was like, oh yeah, this game is very very much over. My opponent just gets
I
a
guess
5/4 with haste that plays a free spell when it dies. Okay, cool.
that might be a memorable moment for me. Getting beat down by Jordan on a 5/4 indestructible pickaxe. That's the
Oh,
most memorable part of my week one.
oh, the pickaxe, yes, the indestructible equipment. That yeah,
Yeah,
even just on Oaken Siren, right? Just 5/4 vigilance now. Jeez.
yeah.
It's a brutal card. Maybe a little too strong, honestly, for how it slots into the set. Because you barely have to do any work to get an artifact. Like so many things just create a little trinkety artifact or even just an artifact token like a map or a treasure.
Especially with the crafting in the format, right? Like it's just available
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, that card is
Looking
wildly
at
strong.
Paul's deck, I'm surprised he's not playing his Zoetic Glyph. He has a few craft cards in here anyway, so it feels like
Okay.
it's just something you just add.
Yeah, maybe he just feels he doesn't have quite enough artifacts that he doesn't want it stranded in hand.
It's interesting because he has the iceberg and the
Okay.
sideboard, which I would think would be main board, and like two or three other cards you would think would be main board, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just not his play style.
Yeah, he could just be going for like let me play my most powerful cards rather than like go for synergies this early in the league. You kind of just want to play, get your most powerful things in there and not worrying about synergies and cards that need other cards to work. That's would be a thought process that's possible.
Yeah, from what I can see, it looks like a very attempting to do the whole what is that mechanic in the graveyard? Descend.
Okay, yeah, descend.
We have the boat, the puzzle door, the ancestrals.
Yeah, if he's blue black, then that is sort of what the deck's trying to do. You mean the ancestral recall? That's what's called, right?
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well,
It's snuck its way in here somehow. Is that a lightning bolt?
well, if you put your hand over the right side of the card, all you see is ancestral RE, and then in the text box, all you see is draw 3 cards. See,
Sounds
you
good
just
to
have
me.
to mentally block out the right half of the card, and you've got one of the best cards of all time.
What else do we have in here? He has a Talarian Terror. Ooh,
Okay,
the wrestler. I like what I see
and
from the sideboard.
okay, so he's not playing those. Yeah, like I said, maybe he's just going for like just powerful cards. But even Tellurian Terror is a pretty powerful card. Even if you get it out for 5, like it's still good. It's a
Yeah.
5/5 with Ward 2, I think.
Ooh, this hand is interesting. Four lands, a Sage of Days, Ancestral Recall, as you like to call it, and the Necromage.
I don't like to call it that. I just I have wishful thinking here. John's got a very nice hand here. 2 removal spells, a braid and Kami's flare. He's got a plundering pirate, the 3/2 that makes a treasure, and then he's got one of the better commons in the set, the Waterwind Scout, the 2/2 flying that
Oh,
makes a map. So very nice hand here for him. Like I said, 2 efficient removals and 2 nice 3 drops.
this is gonna hurt here. We're gonna look top the deck. See what we got. We got a rampaging Spike Tail, Compass Gnome, and a Final Strike. Gotta be the Spike Tail, I would think.
Yeah, like
Unless he just wants to grab the gnome. But I mean, like, so you know John has removal, so the Sage of Days probably dies, and then he plays his pirate, and it goes back to Paul's turn. Paul possibly plays the
okay,
Necromage, and then after
so
that,
he put what
it's
in the
just
graveyard?
Ancestral Recall.
He put Huatley's Strike and
Yeah, the gnome
okay.
kept the Spike Tail on top.
Okay. I mean, here comes a like just a premium 3 drop, like one of the best common creatures in the set here. The Waterwind
And
Scout.
Paul's got two options. Does he just drop the Necromage here, Hope for the best, or just ancestral here.
I mean, he's not under pressure yet, but I think usually you play your draw spell to refill your hand once you've played your other stuff, just to not fall too far behind on board.
It's funny as you said that he was literally about to play it.
Okay, yeah, like well, that's usually my thought process is, my draw spell, like my clunky 4 mana draw spell is not usually for turn 4, right? It's usually do it a bit later. You don't want to fall too behind on board because now just gets to drop another creature,
Yeah.
and now Paul's just quite behind on board.
Like Paul drew into the veins, the riddle, and the corpses of the lost, but I don't think that's too good
Yeah,
currently with what
and
John's presenting.
and John's drawn into another cheap removal here. This time it's from Midnight Hunt. It's Immolation. It's just 1 mana aura. Creature gets +2/-2, so it's like a shock variant.
Hello? Oh, I think we all saw what's on top of that deck.
Yep, we got a pirate ship coming.
Yeah,
So
this feels terrible because you want to hold your riddle for that, but you definitely cannot with the current board
you are
state.
literally just sending your creature out to sea to get
Yeah.
crushed by this ship. You're just taking a creature, you're throwing it off the dock right into the right into the root of the ship, and that creature is never coming back. And
Yeah, I think Paul's thinking about it too. He's going to drop the corpse of the lost
I
here.
mean,
Like, hey, listen,
you
it's
have to play
disposable.
something. He has to play something. He can't play nothing.
Yeah.
Right? He's gonna play, and yeah, John with a really good draw here, and just this, what a sinking feeling to just see this dominant rare right there on top of the deck. That was always a fun. That was the thing I forgot about Explore, is like your opponent reveals their bomb, and then you just sit there and during your whole turn, I'm like, wow, what am I going to do about that?
Listen, I feel your pain, man. A friend of
Because
mine just absolutely did me dirty with Kalani, the stupid
oh
5/3 that makes eggs.
oh, the Hatcher, yeah.
Oh yeah, every time he explored it to the top, I'm just like, scoop.
Yeah, we were streaming the Arena Open yesterday, and I think it was Spaghetti Mitch. He ended up with a okay deck, and he faced a quite a bad deck that just had the Hatcher in it, and just won 2 games just on the back of that.
Yeah, it's nutty. If you can't answer it, it's just so much that it adds to the board.
like his opponent, every other card the opponent played was like a C- at best, but
That's
the
interesting.
Hatcher was just better than his entire deck, so just won the game. Yeah, here comes the guy. He did. Yeah, interesting. He decided not to put the corpses back in his hand.
Yeah, I would think that was the whole point of that play.
I mean, I guess he figures he's at 11, and the hits are not going to stop coming here because John's got 2 removals. So
I
interestingly
mean,
enough, the 2 removals do not actually kill this 5/6 even combined, because it's an abrade and an immolation, which is he could knock basically 5 damage here, but he does have the flyer, so. And he's got the Didact Echo here, which it might be a minute before it gets flying, but could get there eventually. Oh, interesting. He's drawn the Release to the Wind now. So that,
oh,
with the ship combined with one of his other removals, can get that 5/6 off the board. And he can even make a treasure out of it, potentially.
not sure I like this play here. I'm just gonna Ray of Ruin, the 3/3 right away.
I mean, he's at 8, and there's a 3/3 flyer, so I could see the reasons to want to do this. But
Well,
what were his other
that's death
options?
now, isn't it? I mean, he still
No.
has the Necromage confounding riddle. I
Okay.
probably would have just rather played the Necromage to have another creature on board, because now John can just release to win the 5/6, right? And crew and swing for lethal.
That sounds like a thing that you can do with that card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just assume if my
Oh,
opponent's in blue, they have a
oh.
way to bounce my creature.
I think he's okay. So he was about to target his boat.
Oh,
Um. So I think that he maybe doesn't realize that the opponent. Uh, it's not really a blink spell. The opponent still has to. They still have to respect the timing restriction on spells. So it's not like exile it and cast immediately. It's just for as long as it's exiled.
Well, I guess it still gets. Oh well, the boat can't swing
No,
now,
it's
but it's
it's
probably
it's not
still
it's not going to
fine.
be lethal here, but it's going to leave Paul with very few options. So yes, it could have been lethal with the release to the wind, just because of the way it's worded. Again, a very strange card. Um,
Yeah, this is awkward for Paul. He has to join the dead, but he also wants to play the Necromage.
can't do both based on his lands available here,
Exactly.
and he can't tap out to discover because he can't kill everything at once. So it's more or less out of good options here. So is there
Well, this is
something you
going to
can do
come
to stay
sounding.
alive?
We're about to find out. We're going to look at the top of the
Okay.
deck.
I mean, John has an abraded hand, so it's all kind of bad here. I guess if he has -2/-2 to all creatures in his deck, you
I'm
know.
not seeing it. I see three lands
Yeah.
and a black 5/4.
Well, that is a very very unpleasant riddle. The Queen's Bay Paladin, yeah.
Guess he's going to see if he can bluff John here.
Not much to bluff with lethal on board.
You never know what two black mana could be, right? Right?
I mean, in this set, it could be a bunch of stuff, but I don't know if it's anything that gets him out of this particular mess here. And John's
I
just going to
don't
show him
think
the last card
so
here as a
either.
removal. So yeah, looks like we're gonna be wrapping this one up. John P taking the win home here with his red blue pirate boat pirate ship deck here. Galleon just really showing its worth here in both of these games. Great card.
Note to
And
self, adding John to the list of people not to play.
oh geez. All right. So congratulations to John P on winning that after some we'll say technical difficulties getting started, but we'll be back in a little bit for our next match of the evening.